Hey everyone, it's Nick from Nick's Crossing, and welcome to Nick's Reviews, where I review O-scale rolling stock, motive power, and accessories. Today on my tracks, we have a beautiful Lionel starter set. This is actually the anniversary set for the Boy Scouts of America. I was a Boy Scout many years ago. I didn't get very far. Unfortunately, some of my troops fell through, and it just didn't work out for me. But anyways, I still remember all the little slogans, and it taught me so many life skills and survival skills that I use almost every day, and even when I'm out filming in the woods or something like that, those skills are always with me. But anyways, this set was sent to me by a viewer. They go by John Doe. They are frequently on the channel, either on Monday Run Day Lives or just saying hi through comments. This is an awesome set of cars and includes an 080 switcher style. You have a nice box tender and 4 other cars we'll get into a little bit later in the review. So he was saying that this engine was having some electrical problems, and it did happen once, but after lubricating all of my drive wheels here on the inside, because you can't really open these up, and also you can take off the 2 screws up front and the 2 screws in the back that hold on the top to access the motor and things like that. Everything else looked okay. There were some loose wirings for the headlight up here, but everything else looked good. The only other issue I could see when receiving this engine is that there appears to be a ground wire located on the tether here that was disconnected, and there's a very large solder blob there, and the wire was just broken off. I believe that is some type of fail-safe for the speaker system as a ground for the electric horn. Alright, so this is the engine with the set, and this is a typical 080 Lionel starter set steam engine, numbered 1910, to commemorate the 100 years of Boy Scouting anniversary, so to say. I remember seeing these sets when they started to come out in the late 2000s. I want to say like 2009. I really started to see them pop up. Definitely 2010, 11, these were flying off the shelves. I do have an 080 style engine. It was part of a ready to run set that I bought at Sears around that same time frame. Those engines are a little bit different from what this has to offer, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But I do remember seeing these engines flying up on the shelves compared to the 442 style flyer sets that they were selling with the Steam Sounds tenders that were loaded with bells, whistles, and really nice crew talk. It actually had like radio callback, nothing like the newer style whatever they're doing for crew talk. But anyways, let's get into the review of this engine, and then we'll move the train down and review each car individually. Alright, so let's get into the review. So the engine is numbered 1910, which says it in a bunch of different places. You get it on the cab, underneath the cab window here, up front on the tiny, really small print underneath the LED light. Then you'll also have it on the front of the LED light, which you guys will see when we operate the engine. It comes with 2 crew figurines, so I guess you get an engineer and a fireman. This is the fireman side. They're both a little bit different. One has long sleeves, one has short sleeves. Just a really cool touch with this engine. There are a couple details stamped in the mold on the inside of the cab, but it doesn't have like fire lighting or anything like that. So it's just very basic, but I think it's a nice touch for a starter set. Up on top, you have an operating smoke unit, just a dummy bell here, it's glued to the frame. Sand dome here, steam dome. You also have your generator all the way back here that's glued to the die-cast shell. So everything from here up is presumably die-cast, which does give the engine a really nice weight and a little bit more pulling capabilities. For the motor is very small, so you want to be very careful not to burn up this engine. On your driving wheels, all of these articulating parts move. It looks really nice going down the track. They added some other detailing, such as a grab iron going all the way back to the engine. Here you do have a compressor that is glued to the die-cast mold, but it's there. It's a really nice touch as well. Looks like you have a condenser stamped in, and all your riveting and everything else, other than the separately applied bell, and I believe this is your whistle right here that's separately applied. Everything else is like a plastic material. This engine also has a couple of operating features that are really cool, such as a front operating die-cast coupler, an operating smoke unit with a metal smoke bowl, so you don't have to worry about it catching on fire or anything like that. You have a metal tender tether back here instead of a plastic one. And also this has a 3-position E unit with a lock switch. So you can lock this engine in forward, so you don't have to worry about forward, reverse, or neutral. You can also turn off the smoke unit with the switches located underneath the back of the cab. All right, so let's move on to our next car of the review. Very slowly. There you go. All right, so now we're on to the tender, and this is a Boy Scouts of America tender. You also have the fleur-de-lis emblem that they're very well known for. And you can see it is a registered trademark, so you get the little R after each, which is great. This is a registered product. I love this tender, how simple it is, and they did put the beautiful logo up there. It is labeled 1910 on the dummy light there, or the rear light. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this light to work. I tried wiring it up with an LED, but there is no space in here because there's a screw and then there's a pin that holds its center. And also, they included die-casted trucks, which are kind of rare. Usually these sets have plastic trucks, which are very flimsy. My Pennsylvania Flyer set with the same style tender have plastic trucks. They also added some extra weight by adding a die-casted plate in here to hold the tender down so you can pull a little bit more without it having like a string line effect around sharper turns. So let's move on to our next car of the set. There we go. And this is the Boy Scouts of America Boxcar. You can see it has the fleur-de-lis with a very small rights reserved R there. Boy Scouts of America. It appears to either have the oath or the creed. I forgot which one this is. There are two different ones you have to memorize. And here's another seal of the Boy Scouts there. So there was a different rendition of the set or variation that came out in 2010. This one is the 2011 set, but the 2010 set had a maroon-ish style yellow boxcar that had two different depictions of the early Boy Scouts through time. I think it said something along the lines of like may the adventures continue or scouting adventures continue, something like that. But it did have a beautiful 1910 stamp on the door in white and with two different murals. And I'm sure on the other side they placed two other murals of the Boy Scouts. So just something very different between this set and that set. They do give you a metal brake wheel up here, and you also have sprung trucks, which are really nice to have. It runs really nice. So let's move on to the next car. All right, so now we have a Bulkhead Flat car, and he decided to place the wheel sets on here instead of the last car, which you guys will see. Usually those accessories would be swapped. You can see it says BSAX as the road name here, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure what the 2615 means on there, or 26615. Maybe there's some type of Easter egg. I missed it or so. But you do get the seal of the Boy Scouts there, the fleur-de-lis, built by Lionel. You get two brake wheels. There's one on each side. And these are real wheel sets. You could technically use these if you really wanted to. So let's move on to the next car. This is considered a Derrick car or a crane boom car. This is pretty cool. It actually will fold up. So I can do this very carefully. These are very fragile. And this snaps in like that. And when this is all set up, you can actually lift certain items on or off the track. So I don't want to mess with that. This isn't my set. It does work. I did have it working last night when I was just messing around with it. You get a nice little crank here. You can see it says BSAX as well. And this says 37013. So like I said, I'm not sure if these numbers mean some type of Easter egg or whatever in the Boy Scout universe. But you do get a really nice seal of the Boy Scouts there, built by Lionel. You get one brake wheel right here. And I just noticed this too. After each brake wheel, there's actually a chain that comes down. It's stamped in the frame. Just a really nice touch. So I'm actually between this car and the final car as my two favorite cars of the set. And mostly because of this saying here. It says, do a good turn daily, be prepared. And as a former Boy Scout, those two slogans were burned in my brain back then and still are to this day. Just trying to be the best self you can be and also be prepared for anything. And that also stays with me when I'm out rail fanning or exploring the woods or out on location. I like the do a good turn, and it has this right here. Can actually give this thing a good turn, which is kind of funny. But we're gonna move on to the final car of the set, and here she goes. Oh, a little bit faster now. So this is the final car of the set, and I really love this car because it has all of the great artwork of BSA, and also it has the Boy Scout seal at the bottom. It says Boy Scouts of America. I'm not sure what the significance of the 36650 is, but if someone can tell me in comments what all these numbers mean. They do appear to be out of sequence, so I think there is some type of hidden meaning to these numbers. On the wall of the caboose, or the inspection car, we have celebrating the adventure, continuing the journey. And I do remember hearing that slogan when I was back in Scouts. Like all the other cars in the set, these are sprung die-cast trucks with all activated couplers. And on top of that, this car is lighted, so it does have a very small, nicely lit light inside of here, so it glows a nice yellow color. I do like how they put a horizontal brake wheel back here, and it has a nice ladder going up. You get a little nice stove smokestack there. All right, so let's run this beautiful set. Alright everyone, so this engine is a great runner and it sounds really quiet moving around the track, and it looks great in front of our 4 beautifully decorated BSA cars. I forgot to mention before, this set actually came with an oval of Fast Track and an 80 watt Lionel, I believe it was a CW transformer. So this whole set is all ready to run. As soon as you get it in the box, you can open her up, run around anywhere you'd like, even on the floor if you'd want to. This set also came with a Lionel commemorative 100-year patch, which is really cool. And the troop I was in, we wouldn't be allowed to wear those types of patches, but I have seen other troops with their uniforms or shirts completely covered in patches. The troop I was in, or troops, they were very strict, and we were able to collect the patches, but we weren't able to wear a lot of the other commemorative patches, and we get patches for everything. And if you guys aren't familiar with Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts or even Girl Scouts, I believe we get patches for events, charitable events, campground visits, different meetings and things like that. So you got basically a giant stack of patches by the time you were done. I'd like to thank my viewer John Doe for sending me this beautiful set, and I'll get it back to him as soon as possible so he can enjoy it as well. But that's going to do it for today's Nick's Reviews, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss reviews just like this. Stay tuned for other adventures planned out this spring and summer 2021, and I hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching.